Good morning, world, and welcome to yet another fun-filled and fantastic episode with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We thank you all as always. As we will embark on what will be another fun-filled episode here with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We thank you for chopping it up with us in advance, and we thank you in advance for a time that will be had. And so, yes, world, we are back like a shark attack, back like we left something, back like we ain't got no clothes on our back. And for the world is a better place in the moment when the early morning sports talk podcast is taking place. And so, thank you for tuning in with us this morning as we converse about the latest sports topic that have taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in and participate with us every weekend. As a reminder that every week, we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via our two Facebook pages, the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, as well as additionally on our Early Morning Sports Talk podcast Facebook page. You can additionally find us on Instagram at EMSTP underscore, again on IG at EMSTP underscore. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, Ian Jones, as well as our guests for that weekend. Today is May the 17th of 2025, and we have seen yet again another fascinating week in the sports world. So we actually had a chance to see the New York Knicks last night pull off an impressive Eastern Conference semifinal. But I guess it wasn't as impressive when Jason Tatum went down. It changed the series for sure. But the New York Knicks took care of business last night in a very dominating fashion. Jaylen Brown fouling out in the third quarter actually was very surprising. But the New York Knicks moved on to the Eastern Conference Finals. And shout out to Tom Thibodeau for taking out his starters with 9 minutes and then taking out many of his role players no more than 5 minutes left in the game. They earned the right. Additionally, we will see the Minnesota Timberwolves take care of business versus a hobbled Golden State Warriors team. Steph Curry, another injured player, unfortunately. And so that sucks, but with his injury, it allowed for the Minnesota Timberwolves to skate easily into the Western Conference Finals in dominating fashion. Additionally, the Indiana Pacers, who will face the New York Knicks, this team has been on our radar, and they took care of the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games in very dominating fashion as well. Team plays very good basketball. And then additionally, tonight, we got a game 7 between the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder. And now this Oklahoma City Thunder team, we don't know what they are, who they are. We just know that they've been a great regular season team. We'll see what happens tonight. Game 7, Oklahoma City, Denver Nuggets, big game. Additionally, we will see the WNBA season kickoff last night, in which Paige Buckers and the Dallas Wings, they would take their talents to defeat versus the New York Liberty. And then additionally, we will see the Golden State Valkyries, the Golden State Valkyries, have their first game last night versus the Los Angeles Sparks. But the Sparks took care of business, and Kelsey Plum dropped a 37-point piece. So that was great. And then additionally, we will see NFL news take place in which the NFL schedule was released, and our Chicago Bears and many notable games have been pointed out. And so we'll see how the Chicago Bears would do. And with that being said, we have no guests for this morning. Additionally, both of our brothers, they are out this morning. They have some things to handle. And so with that being said, I will rock with us this morning, and we will talk various sports. But before we do that, I'll make sure that I do tags to make sure that folks are included and that I'm not just talking to myself. So give me a moment. All right. And so this is about as many tags as I can do. We'll see how everything else turns out. But this is about as many tags as I can do. Um, and I have to just go from there. So, especially with me being live, it's difficult to do both at the same time. And so, last night we saw the NBA playoffs. New York Knicks take on take on the Boston Celtics, in which the New York Knicks, they did a great job. They took care of business. They were very aggressive from the start. Um, One thing I did see is the New York Knicks, they actually were the aggressors. It's a mentality that I believe in. You rather be aggressive than, or you rather attack than somebody attack you. It's very important in sports. And the New York Knicks, they came out aggressive from the jump and put their foot on the necks of the Boston Celtics and then give them a chance for life. And the Boston Celtics got so bad to where Jaylen Brown, he literally fouled out in the third quarter. And so now we'll make sure we post this on the page. We'll find out who you guys are riding with um, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you got the New York Knicks? Do you got the Indiana Pacers? One thing I do want to say is with the New York Knicks, this big market they have, being New York City, I mean, it's New York. This would be great for the NBA Finals. This would be great. And if this team win the championship, it will be even better. Now, I'm not saying that the New York Knicks will win the NBA championship, but it will be great for the NBA to have this team in the NBA Finals. The second point I would like to make is the New York Knicks, right? One thing about the New York Knicks is this team has been knocking on the door for years. They've been a playoff team. Some people have questioned for a lot of years if Tom Thibodeau has ran this team down due to his crazy mentality of playing players, even when they up 30, 40 points. I mean, last night the arena was nervous, and me watching way overseas, I was nervous because I didn't see Tom Thibodeau take their starters out at the start of the fourth quarter. Tom Thibodeau actually played his Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns into the fourth quarter. And that was just old-fashioned Tom Thibodeau. But clearly, I mean, even the head coach for the Boston Celtics took his starters out. He took his starters out. And Tom Thibodeau still playing his starters versus the bench players for Boston. After Jaylen Brown, they have no Jason Tatum at this point. Jaylen Brown fouled out in the third quarter. Tom Thibodeau still got his starters in. I hope it works out against the Indiana Pacers. I just know this. It will be great for the New York Knicks from a market perspective to be in the NBA Finals. But if you ask me who I think will win the series, it will be the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers is what you call the epitome of basketball. They play beautiful ball. They remind me of those old Spurs teams that won championships back in the early 2014, 2000s. They play beautiful basketball. The ball is constantly moving. It's flowing. The Boston Celtics even looked great in Game 5 without Jason Tatum. That ball was flowing. And the Indiana Pacers do this like consistently. But one thing about this team is that they attack. They keep you under pressure. You're on your heels. That's how Golden State won their championship. Golden State attacks. They attacked you for years. They kept you under a lot of pressure with those great shooters. They kept you honest. They kept you nervous. And eventually there was nothing you can do because their greatness and their attack kept you under pressure so much to where eventually most competition will fold. It's just almost a natural thing. I don't know what law that is. I don't know what law that is. I do know this though. I do know the Indiana Pacers, they attack and they keep you under very, very, very intense pressure. And due to that, I actually feel that the New York Knicks might be in more trouble than what most people think. I know a lot of people will pick the New York Knicks, and I know that because they sleep on Indiana. It's a natural thing. Most people are sleep on Indiana, and that's fine. But if you ask me which team plays more beautiful basketball, it's the Indiana Pacers. And people say, oh, Indiana don't have a closer. That's not true. They do. They do. His name is Tyrese Halliburton. And from what I've seen from Tyrese Halliburton, he closes pretty damn well. And what I see from how Tyrese Halliburton is he's very, very, very athletic, a great athlete, very unselfish, great teammates. He gets everybody involved. And when he has to take over, he will. And he's smart enough to get to the free throw line. So if you ask me who will win this series, I hate to be the party pooper, but I think the Indiana Pacers got the better basketball team. And I think they'll keep the New York Knicks under intense pressure. New York will respond, which means that this will be a dogfight. This going to be some New York type shit. This going to be a dogfight right here. This could be a very deep series. About 7 games probably, at least 6. Because Indiana, they going to come, and I'm putting it out there now as I put it out there before. They are not a team you want to see. They are not a team you want to see. I know everybody want to go with the New York Knicks. New York, New York, New York. It will be great for the NBA Finals. I think it'll be a deep series. But if you ask me who probably will win the series, I will pick the Indiana Pacers. On the other hand, if you ask me another question, out of the 5 teams that's left, because there's 5 teams left, y'all, we got a Game 7 tonight. Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder. The question is here. Has the Oklahoma City Thunder really matured? Game 7 going to tell us tonight. It's going to tell us for sure. Have they really matured? And let me make sure that I got that date right. I'm thinking it's tonight. If I doubt if it's tomorrow. Oh, yeah, it's actually tomorrow, Game 7. So Game 7 is tomorrow. But my whole point is this. Has the Oklahoma City really matured? We are about to find out. Been saying it on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast for months, even prior to the season. The thing that's been said about the Oklahoma City Thunder is a very, very simple question. Do they have enough to win an NBA championship? Or perhaps do they need a superstar? And so the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have SGA. We know he's a perennial all-star. Jalen Williams, he's progressing into that Robin role. You know, SGA is Batman, but right now, Jalen Williams is progressing into that Robin role. And so the question now becomes, if the Oklahoma City Thunder, do they have enough to actually get it done? And if they don't get it done, then the questions will be, do they need another superstar? I've been saying it consistently that the Oklahoma City Thunder are young, number one. They don't have enough experience. And then on top of that, they need a second superstar. These three things. And so, the Oklahoma City Thunder, we are about to find out who they truly are. Who y'all got, by the way? Y'all got the Denver Nuggets. Y'all got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Denver Nuggets, on the other hand, got a lot of experience. Great basketball team. They take nights off. They do. Michael Porter Jr. been having a shitty series. The Denver Nuggets have actually outplayed the Oklahoma City Thunder this series, minus 2 games in the fourth quarter, in which the Oklahoma City Thunder, in games 4, games 5, they came back in the fourth quarter. They took over, and they won the games. SGA took over in the fourth quarter, game 4. Game 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, both of the Williams, Alex Caruso, the rest of the squad, they took over in that fourth quarter. But Lou Dort was the superstar because he hit a couple timely threes, and I call him the superstar because it went out and got started without him. And so, Lou Dort, SGA, Jalen Williams, you brought Alex Caruso there for his experience, championship pedigree. Isaiah Hartenstein, you bought him from New York to be a big man, to have that tough mentality. Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be a very, very telling game for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the question then becomes, truly, do the Oklahoma City Thunder have enough? I do know that the Joker, one thing about the Joker is this. The Joker is undoubtedly the best player in basketball. The Joker's so great, there's not much you can do. You can only do so much with the Joker. That's it. And he's going to get his points regardless, because that's what the Joker does. 44, 22, one game. I think game 2, 44, 22, and 15. 44, 15, game, 5? I mean, they lost, but 44 and 15. Game 6, he didn't have to do much, but he still dropped the 30-piece triple-double. So he's one of the greats, man. The key is Jamal Murray. The key is Michael Porter Jr. If both of those guys show up, the Oklahoma City Thunder will lose the series, and the Denver Nuggets will progress. On the other hand, the Minnesota Timberwolves, right now they've been cruising through the playoffs, took care of the Lakers in 5. I know everybody was screaming Lakers in 5, but it was the Timberwolves in 5. Anthony Edwards is somebody that's got a big checklist at this point. I won't put Steph Curry on that checklist. No, I won't, because Steph Curry was injured. Steph Curry got injured game 1. Minnesota Timberwolves survived that game. I mean, the Golden State Warriors survived that game. They survived. But they played great defensively. They really did. But the Minnesota Timberwolves, they adjusted very well. And it made it very easy without Steph Curry. And they took care of business versus, you can say, maybe a tired Golden State Warriors team. Jimmy Butler, he disappeared. For the money he was paid, I was expecting him to at least shoot more in Game 5, to go out at least dying, trying, die, trying. You get my point. But wasn't the case. Jimmy Butler was a phantom. He was a ghost. APB out for Jimmy Butler because that man did not show up. He clearly looked unmotivated Game 5. He looked like he didn't care. And it showed. And the, what do we say? The Minnesota Timberwolves, they saw blood. They took care of him. They saw blood. One thing I do want to say, one thing about the Frenchman, Rudy Gobert, is a lot of people want to give this man slack, give him issues, whoop the bam. But one thing about Rudy Gobert is he is very, he's very consistent with what he does. I at least know Rudy Gobert what I'm going to get from him. Generally, in most cases, I know what I'll get for Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy Butler, I bring that up because he's supposed to have been a superstar. And he had a great game. Was it Game 3? He went out swinging that first game in Golden State. Really. That second game, not the case. Game 5 in Minnesota, it definitely was not the case. What do you do with the Golden State Warriors? 3 players in their prime, 1 year older. Do you keep Kuminga? Do you shop Moody? What do you do with Pozinski? What do you do with GP3? These are pieces that are important to the Warriors' success. One thing I will say is that the Warriors, for sure, was one of the best teams. And they went on a late season surge to get what they got to make it to the second round. But more importantly, to get that 6th seed and have a chance, or get that 7th seed, actually. And play a young Houston Rockets team and then go out in a very bad way. But they got questions this offseason. What are they going to do? They stuck with those 3 guys for sure who are a year older, but I at least know that they got a veteran team. Does that series turn out differently if Steph Curry plays? Hell yeah, it does. The series turns out very, very differently if Steph Curry plays, but Steph Curry didn't play. He wasn't available. So, unfortunately, that was one of the worst scenarios that could happen. But, Steph Curry, it shows just how great he is as a player and how important he is to the success of the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see what happens. We'll go from there with that series. But the Minnesota Timberwolves, right now, I don't know how most people feel. But if you had to choose between them and the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder, people will still have the Thunder as the favorite over the Minnesota Timberwolves. But for me, I wouldn't understand that. And for me, I would actually have the Minnesota Timberwolves as the favorite coming out of the West, being that they have a lot of rest and being that they have arguably the best American player in the world. And so, Anthony Edwards, his ceiling right now, world, is, and I heard some analysts saying that he's descended, but Anthony Edwards, I think, is on the verge of becoming, he's already a top 5 player, but I think he's on the verge of becoming a top 3 player. And people could say what they want. I could care less. But right now, Anthony Edwards is definitely a top 5 player in the NBA. And if he continues to ascend on this postseason run and he take down either the Joker or SGA in the conference finals, and if he go on to win the NBA finals, Anthony Edwards has to be mentioned as a top 3 player in this league. and that will be behind the Joker, and we can maybe argue Giannis. And that'd be a close, And so Anthony Edwards has a very good opportunity here. This might be the best opportunity that Anthony Edwards will have to win an NBA championship at this point. This might be the best opportunity right here. And so Minnesota Timberwolves, right now, they are resting. They have a great opportunity. Curious to know, world, what you guys think. Who do you think will be in the NBA Finals? Who do you guys think? Who do you feel will be in the NBA Finals? We'll see. But right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are looking like the team that is on the mission, I would say. They are the team that's on the mission right now. And right now, they hold their keys. Right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves hold their keys. And if Anthony Edwards continue to take down these big old giants, these big old, big names, and he continue to slay them, then yeah, people gonna really have to start putting some respect on Anthony Edwards' name as a top player in the NBA, and not just always sticking with the okie doke names, but really have to say, hey, it's time to let this guy in now. Let's pay attention to the results and let's see what he's doing, because he's winning. He's definitely winning for sure. And so I'm a big fan of Anthony Edwards. I love to watch him. And this is for sure his best opportunity to win an NBA championship based off of how the NBA playoffs is currently constructed right now. And then lastly, at this point, the question just remains, out of these 5 teams, who do you guys feel has the best opportunity to win it all? And so for me, I think the Timberwolves have the best opportunity. And if I had a team that I would feel comfortable with at this point, it would be the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know it's not a big market like New York, but if you ask me who's the most complete team out of these 5, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves and it's the Indiana Pacers. And that's who I feel would be in the NBA Finals. All right. WNBA season, it kicks off. The Chicago Sky, they kick off their season tonight versus the Indiana Fever. This should be a great game. Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark is looking to win a championship at this point. So they went out, they got some big names. They got Sophie Cunningham, got her from the Phoenix Mercury. They got DeWanna Bonner from the Connecticut Sun. They went out and got Bree Colson, and she played for the Atlanta Dream. She was a role player. So they went out and got some notable free agents and brought them with the core of Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell. So we'll see how the Indiana Fever turn out. This is primetime basketball. This is a rival right here, Chicago, Indiana. On the other hand, the Chicago Sky, our success, a lot of people feel it will be predicated on Angel Reese, but I love Angel. But the thing is about Angel, I know what she gonna give us. Angel's gonna give us 15, a double-double. She gonna give us effort. She gonna give us defense. The biggest key for me, though, is the other draft pick from the first round last season. That's Kamilla Cardoso. If Kamilla Cardoso progressed the way she's supposed to progress, the Chicago Sky will be tough to beat. But it all depends on the cardio and it depends on the progression of Kamilla Cardoso. If she becomes the player that some of us believe she's capable of being, then the Chicago Sky can be a tough team to beat. If she plays well tonight, the Indiana Fever won't beat us. They won't. And that's with all the great names they got. But it depends on Kamilla. It depends on Kamilla. So I'm hoping that she is going to have a great season. So far, I don't like what I've seen from Kamilla. Her progression hasn't been what I thought it would be. But I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that she will progress and be what she can be. On the other hand, Hailey Van Lith looks great. Our first round pick out of TCU, played with and won a national championship with Angel Reese at LSU. She seems to be clutch, have a clutch gene, and she's behind one of the point guard GOATs in the WNBA. That's Courtney Vandersloot. And Sloot running the point guard position, her IQ is amazing. Watching her play is poetry in motion. And so I'm hoping that she comes out, even at her old age, and just lights up the scoreboard. And I'm not saying light up the scoreboard with points, but light up the scoreboard with assists, because that's what she does. She's a point guard. And I hope that she just does that well. And if it does, then it'll make easy baskets for Angel, easy baskets for Kamilla, easy baskets for Ariel Atkins, and a lot of our role players. And so I'm very, very hopeful that Sloot and a combination of Hailey Van Lith could help us be a team that could be putting pressure on teams and not the opposite. Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, WNBA season kickoff. We're going to see what happens there. On the other hand, we could talk about the Chicago Bears schedule, but I'm going to save that until next week. And the reason why I'm going to save that to next week is because I want to hear the other guys' thoughts on what exactly they feel or how they feel the Chicago Bears will, how they'll feel they'll do this season. And so based off of that, the schedule was announced. And so, again, we'll talk about that next week. But there are some notable NFL games that I want to point out and I want to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing. On Thanksgiving, there'll be 3 great games. And I'm very hopeful that all 3 of these games will be classic games. So I'm very hopeful that these will be great games. And I'm very, very hopeful that, they'll turn out to be good. The Bears and the Lions last year was a great game. That gave us a great game last year. It was just the head coaching of the Bears that messed everything up, right? I mean, if we remember that. Bears, screwed the game up. Terrible miscommunication between Caleb Williams and the head coach. That will go down as one of the all-time Thanksgiving game blunders. And so, really, really bad. But on the other hand, the Detroit Lions, they will play against the Green Bay Packers. And so, I'm looking forward to this game. And I'm looking forward to this game just because it's a rival between 2 great teams that are playoff-bound teams. And so I'm very interested in watching this Packers-Detroit Lions game because for years, the Detroit Lions have been through football purgatory. But now they are winning. Detroit is revived again. There's life in Detroit. They are thinking championship in Detroit. So we'll see how things turn out. Detroit, Green Bay. On the other hand, Kansas City, they'll play against the Dallas Cowboys. And so that will be an intriguing game too. Mostly because It's the Dallas Cowboys. But they playing against Patty Mahomes. Super Bowl great. All-time great quarterback. All-time great head coach. We know about the Kansas City Chiefs. They are one of the dominant franchises in the NFL. And so Kansas City at Dallas, just because it's Dallas and it's America's team, it's perfect for Thanksgiving. A lot of eyes will be on that game. Folks won't be doing much on that day. But if they aren't doing anything, Kansas City and Dallas will provide great entertainment. And then Cincinnati and Baltimore, that should be a great game as well. And I'm looking forward to that one. Just because that game likely will have playoff implications. The AFC North is one of the toughest divisions in football, and it has been for years. Generally they produce 3 playoff teams, generally. And if not 3, at least 2, and one of them is knocking on the door at least every year, if not 3. And so Cincinnati, they lost. They didn't lose, but, they lost a couple important games throughout the season, which cost them. They lost a number of games throughout the season that they should have won. Very slow start last year. Finished very strong last year. And it was unfortunate because it was too late. That team would have been hella dangerous in the NFL playoffs. And that would have been a team nobody wanted to play. But they had a bad season throughout the regular season. That's why the regular season is important. But on the other hand, back to my ADHD. This should be a good game. And so we're looking forward to this game because it's Baltimore, Cincinnati. Who doesn't want to see who doesn't want to see Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson on Thanksgiving? Should be very entertaining. A notable game I want to see, though, everybody, is I want to see the Bears at the Commanders. And I want to see that because of what happened last year. I remember watching the game, and I remember seeing the Bears up. I remember saying, I hope the Bears don't blow this. I hope the Bears don't blow this. I remember the Bears scoring a touchdown in the fourth quarter, playing smash mouth football, going up. I'm like, yes, we got us one. Caleb Williams is the answer. I remember that. But then I remember the Hail Mary too. And unfortunately, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that changed the trajectory of our NFL season. And we went on to lose a lot of games after that. But this is the Bears' opportunity for redemption. And so I want to see that game because it was one of the craziest moments of the 2024 NFL season. And Bears got a chance for redemption. On the other hand, I want to see Detroit at Philly. I think these will be 2 of the top teams in the NFC. I want to see that. I think that's going to be a great, great game. Also want to see Kansas City at Buffalo. Kansas City at Buffalo is 2 heavyweights. It's 2 teams that should be at the top of the AFC, I'm assuming. And so who wins that might actually have home field advantage. They might. And so that'd be an interesting game to see. And then another game I want to see is Kansas City and Philly. Rematch of the Super Bowl. Who's at home for that one? Kansas City is at home. And so Philly at KC. That'd be another notable game I want to see. And so that being said, world, that concludes my sports conversation. Support this screen. You see that link, you see that QR code. You can click there. You can click there on the link. Click on the QR code. We have merchandise. And an exciting announcement is that we actually have kids merchandise. And so yesterday we were able to upgrade our clothing to kids merchandise. And so now we have kids merchandise that's available that could be sent to you. So please support our scream, support our podcast. We appreciate the love. We appreciate it in advance. So please support us. Thank you in advance. We need support. We need it. We appreciate it. It will be a blast to have you all participate with us. And so, yes, support this scream and use that QR code. Final thoughts and shout outs. Let's see. My final thoughts today is sometimes alone is good. Sometimes alone is needed. The Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is a product of mine that has been brought along with a lot of help with two of my fellow partners. But sometimes it's good to get on here and just talk. And so today, that's one of them days. It wasn't a lot of interaction, and possibly due to whatever feelings, I don't know. But the fact is that the final thoughts that were given by me is just honest thoughts. As far as sports, we here. And my thought is with my brothers, hope that all is well. My thought is with the world, and that we are all taking care of ourselves. My thought is with our viewers. We appreciate you. And so those are my thoughts. I want to give a shout out to my bros. I want to give a shout out to our guests. I want to give a shout out to our supporters. And I want to give a shout out to the New York Knicks. The reason why I give a shout out to the New York Knicks is because they made the conference finals and they got a chance to go to the NBA finals. And it's really, really good for the NBA from a business standpoint. But will the New York Knicks get it done? That's the question that remains. And so, with that being said, world, we would like to thank you on behalf of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast for tuning in with us this morning. Continue to chop it up with us and support our podcast on various platforms. And if you are and would love to talk sports with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we are here and would love to do so with you. Your love and support of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is truly appreciated. And we hope you all have a blessed and safe weekend. Peace.